Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar this evening. We have designed this very special session just for our educators. My name is Selena Archer, and I work along with the Teachers and Salaried Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited, and I assist the business development team with initiatives such as this one. So we are delighted to tell you more about our mortgage portfolio. I'm just going to give everyone a few housekeeping notes before we get started. You may ask questions during the presentation using the chat box. You may also direct message myself or one of the co-hosts if you are too shy to ask the question in the chat box or at the end of the presentation. So we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to hear our presenter this evening. So we would like for you to keep your mics muted during the presentation. And again, you may ask questions as they pop up during, through your chat box. And also we will have a question and answer segment at the end of this session. If you have your camera switched on, we just want to remind you that everyone in the meeting can see you. And if you are receiving any inappropriate messages from anyone attending the session this evening, please feel free to message myself or one of the co-hosts, and we'll take care of that for you. I will be putting links in the chat momentarily so that you can have an email address for us in case there are questions that you may think of after the session, and also our website so that you can visit that at any time. So it is my pleasure to turn the floor over to Sherelle Bastian, who is our loans manager and our presenter for this evening. Ms. Bastian, please come on in.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Archer, for the introduction. It is indeed my pleasure to be presenting this evening, and just to let you know a little bit about myself. I am a certified credit professional with over 14 years of experience in the financial sector and 5 years in management. I am extremely optimistic about our loan portfolio growth at Teachers and Salaried Workers Cooperative Credit Union, and I am delighted to be a part of such an exhilarating team of professionals. Okay, Ms. Archer, you can put me on to the next slide.
Is that what you need, Ms. Bastian?
Yes. This evening, we will be discussing the following. What should you know about real estate and mortgage loans? Steps that you should take when obtaining real estate or mortgage loan. Various purposes for mortgage loans. Teachers and Salaried Workers Cooperative Credit Union, mortgage loan requirements, and mortgage loan criteria. What comes to mind when you hear the words real estate? If you thought of property, land, or vacant lot, you are correct. Land is commonly referred to as real estate, a lot, land parcel, or property. It can be vacant or occupied with a structure on it. At TSW CCUL, we offer you, our members, a maximum repayment term of 15 years and a fixed interest rate of 8.25%, which is negotiable. Please note that all loan products at the credit union do not allow the borrower to surpass the retirement age of 65. There is usually a minimum down payment of 10% on real estate loans. So whenever you're considering a property, make sure to confirm approval of the subdivision plan and zoning restrictions. This will assist you with knowing if the land can be legally conveyed and whether the land is a single family or multifamily zone. Mortgage loans are approved and dispersed for the purchase of real estate or for the purchase or construction of dwelling structures such as a single family home, rental units up to 4plex with at least one being owner occupied. We offer a maximum repayment term of 25 years and competitive interest rate as low as 5.75% up to 6.75%. In this instance, the interest rate is not fixed as it is tied to Bahamas Prime, which is currently at 4.25%. For reference, you can visit Central Bank of the Bahamas website.
Next slide, please.
Here are some tips on what you should know. You, our members, are exempted from paying stamp duty on mortgage loans. And this is due to the organization being a non-profit entity. So by law, we are exempted. Let me just say that commercial banks do not have such privilege. Sales agreement can be for the gross sale or net sale value of the property or home. What's the difference, you may ask? Well, the difference can assist you with making your decision. Gross sale is when both parties are responsible for the completion cost of the transaction. So each party pays their own legal fees, stamp duty, and a realtor's commission. Stamp duty on conveyance is 10% of the sale price or the appraised value. This amount is provided by the Department of Inland Revenue. As it relates to net sales, it simply means that the buyer pays all costs associated with the transaction. The seller walks away with the amount requested in the sales agreement. Legal work. Legal work can take up to 6 months to be completed. In some cases, the time frame can be less. Legal fees may vary anywhere from 1.5% up to 2.5%. This is at the attorney's discretion. Legal work entails the attorney performing a legal title search to determine whether the title to the property is good and marketable. There is also preparation of the report on title, consulting with the vendor's attorney for back title documents, payment of requisite taxes on the conveyance, the recording of the title documents in the registry of records, and making applicable regulatory application. Real property tax is exempted for all owner-occupied dwelling value not exceeding $300,000. In the case of rental property, real property tax on the portion occupied by the owner is exempted. However, taxes are applied to the remaining units. Realtor's commission is typically 6% plus VAT on the sale price. In the case of a vacant, undeveloped land, the commission is 10% plus VAT. Take this into consideration when budgeting as well as reading your sales agreement. Subdivision plan. Subdivision plan approval is required. As previously mentioned, it is particularly important that you request and receive a written verification noting the intended property subdivision plan has been approved. If approval is not in place, the conveyance will be invalid.
Next slide, please.
Steps you should take when obtaining real estate or mortgage. Step 1. Decide on what it is you want. Ask yourself, do I want a vacant land so I can build on later? Do I want to be a landlord to generate income by purchasing a duplex, triplex, or fourplex? Step 2, start saving. Set a realistic goal. Step 3, get a pre-approved letter from us. By obtaining this information, you will better equip yourself to know how much you can afford on your present income. Step 4, speak to a realtor about possible purchasing options or obtain distressed property listing from various financial institutions, newspapers, or social media. Step 5, once you have located a property or home of your choice, submit a bid. Most vendors request up to 10% as a down payment. You will be ready for this step when you have sufficient funds saved. Step 6, if your offer is accepted, seek legal advice relative to the sales agreement and possibly prepare documents if the mortgage loan is approved. Step
Step 7 in the next slide. Okay.
7, once you have executed the sales agreement, contact a reputable quantity surveyor for an appraisal report. Step 8, obtain construction estimate or quotations from a contractor. This step is only necessary if you are renovating. If you are building, you would need to contact an architect to draw plans, have those plans approved from Ministry of Work, and then construction estimates or quotes from a contractor is required or is needed. Lastly, step 9. If you are approved, carefully read the terms and conditions outlined in the facility letter before signing. If you are unsure, it is always wise to ask questions. I want to share my story with you. When I was 22 years old, being a single mother, I was a teller, not making much, and had other financial obligation. At the time, it was my goal to be in my home by my 25th birthday. I recall one evening being so frustrated, I wrote in my notebook in uppercase, be at home by 25th birthday. I started working on a budget plan based on my income and expenses and worked out that I could afford to save $300 per month. Within that week, I opened up an entirely separate account and I did not request an ATM card. I began saving the following month. I recall making sacrifice, making lunch to carry to work. So everything I cooked or that was prepared, I make sure I had leftover to carry to work the next day. And it helped. So I made sacrifice and I saved, and I was able to save up to about $9,000 in a 2-year period, almost 3. And kid you not, 2 weeks before my 25th birthday, I received a call after I would have placed an offer with a financial institution, and I won the bid. So received a call from my attorney at the time, and yeah, I had my key before my 25th birthday. So with God's help and a huge sacrifice, I was able to be in my home. So I simply share my story today to tell you that if I can do it, I know you can. Now we're going to speak about the various purposes for mortgage loans. As you can see, there are 5 types, 5 purposes. First one being real estate. So real estate is to purchase land. Second being residential mortgage. And this is to simply assist with purchasing of single dwelling homes, condos, townhouse, duplex, triplex, or fourplex. The thirdly, you have residential construction, and this is simply the construction of a duplex, single dwelling up to a fourplex. Equity financing. Equity financing is for individuals who have existing mortgages, and you can use the equity in your home to either consolidate existing debt, pay college tuition, renovate your home, purchase an investment property, or simply invest in a business. And you may ask, what is equity? How do I know if I have equity? Well, equity is usually realized after 2 years of obtaining a mortgage. Equity is the value that exists between the appraised value and the face value of your loan. So, for example, if your home is appraised for $300,000 and you have a mortgage balance of $150,000, you have an equity value of $150,000. You can borrow up to 70% of the equity value with us once serviceability is proven. Switch mortgage. And this is the transfer of a mortgage from one institution to Teachers and Salary Workers Cooperative Credit Union. Earlier this year, we would have run a switch mortgage campaign, which was designed for our members with existing mortgage with other financial institutions. We offered a maximum repayment term of 15 years or not exceeding the retirement age of 65, a maximum loan amount of $250,000, minimum equity injection of 30%, and interest rate of 4.75%. Commitment fees were waived, and we absorb all transfer costs associated with the transaction. You may say,
Next slide, please.
Bastian, what do I need to start this process? Because I am ready. Well, here is a list of items you can start gathering. They are your passport, national insurance card, job letter, and most recent payslip, executed sales agreement, an appraisal report, your CRIF credit report from the credit bureau. We do provide that service at Teachers at a cost of $20 plus VAT. Approved plans from Ministry of Works if you are building. 3 contractors estimate, and this is also required if you are building or need renovation. Comprehensive homeowners insurance or contractors all risk insurance quotes. And whenever you're going to obtain a quote, it is wise, or I suggest that you take your appraisal report with you, as well as the contractor's estimate, so you can get an accurate premium. So, for instance, if your mortgage will go back to $300,000, your appraised value is $300,000. Once you look through your appraisal report, it will break down that your land may value $100,000, and your home, to construct your home is valued $200,000. You only need to get insurance coverage for $200,000. Next, you would need real property tax certificates, and this is for persons who have existing properties. Loan printouts and credit card statements are required. Credit reference letters, copy of conveyance if you own the property. 2 years bank statements for self-employed individuals only. Life insurance policy is required. So if your mortgage amount is $150,000, you would need to be insured for $150,000.
Next slide, please.
Here are some
Okay.
Criteria at TSWCCUL, and they are: you must be a Bahamian citizen or a permanent resident with the right to engage in any gainful employment. You must be 8 years of age or older. You must be employed for a minimum of 2 years. You must obtain a debt service ratio of 50% or less. And this simply means that your monthly debt, exclusive of your mortgage payment, must not exceed 50% of your monthly income. Salary deduction from TSWCCUL's approved list of reputable companies is preferred. Satisfactory credit report from the credit bureau. Evidence of down payment up to 10% is required. So if you have a copy of the bank draft or a stamp receipt from the attorney, we can use that. 1% commitment fee plus VAT is required. And we go back to if your mortgage was approved for 300,000, 1% of that will be 3,000. 10% of the 3,000 would be 300. So therefore, your fees would be $3,300. Evidence of closing costs is required, and same is to be deposited with teachers at the time of the application process. I would like to share some additional information as it relates to some of the securities held against a mortgage loan, and they are first demand legal mortgage, assignment of life insurance, assignment of home owner's insurance for the full replacement value of your home, noting teachers and salary cooperative credit union as lost payee, in some cases, assignments of rent. We also establish escrow accounts to manage payments of your life insurance, home insurance, real property tax, along with a mandatory share savings of $50 minimum to be held until the mortgage is satisfied. This will assist you with not having the burden to find funds annually to cover these bills. The savings component is a plus because it can go towards retirement funds. Imagine your mortgage is paid off and you have $15,000 to $30,000 saved. You can do as you wish with your savings, and money is never late. Just imagine what you can do with those funds and not be obligated to anyone. With that said, I hope that the information shared this evening will be beneficial to you or perhaps someone else. Best wishes on your mortgage journey. Remember, we are teachers, are all about people helping people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bastian. That was an awesome presentation. I have some questions in the chat. I'm going to ask all attendees now to raise your hands, your virtual hands. If you have any questions, or please feel free to unmute so that you may ask them. The question in the chat: will this PowerPoint be shared for attendees for later? What we will do is we have recorded this webinar session. We do send out emails after the sessions occur to those who attend. So we'll put some information in that as it was relevant from the presentation, but please do check our YouTube channel as well, because that information will be posted there within the week. Ms. Bastian, here is a question for you. How many estimates are required for construction?
Minimum of 3 contractors estimates. So 3 contractors, 3 estimates. Also be aware that the contractors that you choose, they would need their business license, valid ID, and 3 references of work they would have already done.
Thank you so much. And again, please feel free to ask questions either within the chat box or raise your hand or unmute to ask Ms. Bastian any questions you may have about mortgages. Here is another question. Is there a process in place to have commonage land registered so that so that it can attain value?
At this time, I won't be able to answer that question because we don't have that in place at teachers. But if you send information, I will be delighted to go ahead and research and get back to you with that answer.
Okay, Ms. Bastian, would you mind putting your email address into the chat box for those who may want to reach out to you directly?
No problem.
Here's a question in the private chat. If I have a loan with 2 institutions, is it worth it to still come in and apply for a mortgage?
Yeah, breaking up.
My apologies. That question was, if I have a loan with 2 institutions, is it worth it to still come in and apply for a mortgage?
Repeat that again. You were dipping in and out.
Sorry, my
Sorry.
internet must be a little hazy. If I have a loan with 2 institutions, is it worth it to still come in and apply for a mortgage?
Well, it all depends. I would say come in, get assessed. We will tell you where you're at, and we'll be able to put you on track for your mortgage. So it's all about getting that consultation.
Thank you. And we have another question. What is the interest rate for persons wanting to switch mortgages?
Well, with the campaign, our interest rate were at 4.75, but it's always negotiable. We'll be delighted for you to come in as well and sit down with any one of me or my mortgage officer, and we'll be able to speak with you and negotiate a competitive interest rate.
Perfect. What is the lowest amount you can have as a down payment for a construction mortgage?
Minimum of 5%, 5% down. And that's on the amount of the construction as well as the property. If you own the property, you may have equity in the property, so you may not be required to do an injection, but the minimum requirement is 5%.
Thank you. Is there a special at the bank offering to teachers first-time mortgages, waiving commitment fees, etc.?
No, not at this time. I don't know if the general manager is on or business development could perhaps speak to that. I cannot answer that question.
Hello, sorry, Ms. Bastian, this is Byron. What was that question?
If we are willing to waive commitment fees for first time, I guess it's a first time teacher or homeowner.
Let me say, yeah, that we would be prepared to, based on the case presented, to provide exceptions if we see that there is a chance for a mortgage to happen and it requires just a little cutting or trimming of the fat. We're prepared to work with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miller. If I have a mortgage with another institution and my rate is 6%, will the credit union be prepared to beat that rate?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
It's awesome news for teachers. Will the switch mortgage special be offered again anytime soon?
Business development, I think there, Ms. Ferguson are. Yeah.
Yes.
It will be. It will
Yes.
be.
I'm going to encourage everyone here to follow us on our social media pages. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and you will be very much aware of when the switch mortgage starts again. Another question from our private chat: what documents are needed to switch a mortgage?
Well, like I previously stated, there is a list. So the list would be your passport, your regular passport and ID card. You would need updated appraisal report. You would need your mortgage printout. If you have any other existing debt, we would need those printout. Credit reference letter. We also would need to know if you have real property tax, how they are being paid. And like I said, we would need to get a CRIF report to see that you would have a satisfactory rating.
Thank you, Ms. Bastian. Another question. Do we grant mortgages to rent to own properties?
And that's something we are looking at now. Perhaps earlier next year, we would probably be pushing something out. But Mr. Miller can perhaps speak to that.
Sure, thanks, Ms. Bastian. Yes, once you have injected sufficient into the property to represent your down payment, according to the property owner, we would consider that to be your down payment. So the property owner ideally would show in the sales agreement that your rental over the past several years has been at a certain level and you have satisfied the requirement of the down payment, and we can then go ahead and proceed. Now, we don't just take the seller's word for it. You should have been receiving receipts from the seller during the time of your rental agreement. So we would ask that you provide that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. What is the turnaround time with construction mortgage applications once all documents and funds are in place?
Well, turnaround time is 5 working days once all documents are down. All documents must be in.
Perfect, thank you. And we do have a question here for Ms. Ferguson. Would you mind putting in the contact person for Grand Bahama into the general chat, please?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Do you offer family island construction?
Yes, we do on a case by case. Which island are you referring to?
Ms. Roll, do you want to type that into the chat or come in and let us know which island you were thinking of?
Well, Andros, at this time, we are not looking at Andros, but in the future, perhaps yes, but not at this time.
Okay, thank you. I have a property and an existing mortgage with the credit union since May of 2021. Would I still need to make an injection of 5% or will it be slightly lower?
Well, you said of May 2021. That's
it's 189, right?
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Ms. Bastian.
Was that you said 2021 for both facilities?
Yes.
Was that the question?
That's it.
Are you asking for a refinance, or, I mean, you would have equity after 2 years of the mortgage. So if your mortgage does not being there for 2 years, you wouldn't have much equity built up in the mortgage to do any refinance at this time.
Okay. And if there's a follow-up question to that question, please feel free. I'm going to halt on the questions in the chat, and I'm going to ask Ms. Smith, who raised her hand, to come in with her question.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah,
yes,
good.
I'm always excited about these offers that you all are offering, and I came in on the tail end of, I think, the first presenter's presentation. And I just would like to know, what's so phenomenal about this special offering, because I'm glad that your rate is at 6% and you are happy to negotiate to even bring it to another place whereby people could be accommodated if need be. And I appreciate you all for that. So I just wanted to know, is there something really special you're offering the teachers? And then another thing is, I heard some time ago, I don't know which financial seminar this was at, because I like to get information concerning those things. The more information you know, the more better you're able to handle yourself once you apply it. When they were saying something about a credit score coming on stream. Is that in effect? So just those 2 questions, please. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Smith. We appreciate that, your comments. And yes, the credit bureau is in effect now. You would have to get a credit report. And like I said, we do provide that service for a cost of $20 plus VAT. as well as it relates to if there's any special. The special is you guys are special. So we did this webinar just for you, just for you, to share this information to you guys to make sure you are you know what teachers offering, and to come on in and sit down with us and let us discuss how best we can assist.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bastian. And we also have another raised hand. Ms. Ferguson, would you like to come on in?
Yes, good afternoon, and good afternoon, Ms. Bastian. This is the follow-up question about concerning the mortgage that existed from May of 2021. My question was, if I had a mortgage with the credit union since May of 2021, would I not be allowed to get a construction mortgage this soon? I would have to wait for 2 years. I wasn't certain of your answer to the question.
Oh no, we can look at how much your construction costs. We can look at your case because you're being there from May, and I am aware of so I know you, Ms. Ferguson. So
Okay.
give me a call tomorrow and we can discuss. I'm familiar with you.
Okay.
CV
Okay,
battle, right?
Yes,
Or you still-
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Bastian, again. And again, this is a question from private chat. Do all the items on the loan checklist apply to the homes to the homes from the Ministry of Housing?
The Ministry of Housing have their requirements, but yes, you still would need to provide those documents for teachers.
Okay, and I think that this is a follow-up question for Family Island Construction in reference to Eleuthera, if that is available.
Yes, Eleuthera is available.
Perfect. And another question about Abaco. Is Abaco available as well?
Yes, they are.
Perfect. Is there any distressed property listings?
Well, the stress property listing is on our website, and at this time we have some vacant lot available, so you can place an offer and our collection manager will be happy to assist.
Are there any behind the gate?
Once you get the listing, you'll be able to, isolate what is behind the gate.
Well, we said we could confiscate that information, ma'am.
I suggest you go directly to the website and look at it right now. The other question that we have is, in terms of construction mortgages, how are funds paid to contractors? I was told sometimes the contractors cover the cost and then are reimbursed by the bank.
Yes, we do not provide mobilization, so the contractor is supposed to come up with a certain amount. Once you reach the foundation stage, they would need to get approval from Ministry of Works, and we would draw down the stage based on them completing. And they would also need a quantity surveyor inspection to show that everything is up to standard, as well as the members given authorization to say that they are pleased with the work, and we'll go ahead and release the funds by stage by stage.
Perfect. And is it possible to include legal fees into a construction mortgage if the client wishes?
That all depends on your injection. We do lend up to 95% financing, but that would be, you would also have to pay mortgage indemnity insurance to cover the 15% difference. So if you do have equity in your home and the equity is up to about 20%, we could include the legal fees into that amount.
Thank you so much. And I am just putting into chat the website information. Once you go there, you'll be able to navigate and get to the distressed property listing. And also there's loads of information there that may be relevant to you. Another question, if I put down my own foundation, would this be considered as my down payment in Exuma?
Yes, it could be considered, but like I said, you would need to get an appraisal report so we can see what the quantity surveyor would assess that for, to say that the amount for the foundation, we can't just go by for instance, if you say, well, I injected 10% from my $10,000 from my foundation, the quantity surveyor would then have to go and assess your property and say, well, as is with the foundation on the property is valued X amount of dollars, and then we'll be able to go from there.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? I hope I didn't miss anybody in the chat. Please remember that you can raise your virtual hands as well. And I know that there were questions about the credit bureau. We also hosted last month a webinar on that, and it is also on our YouTube channel. If you want to go over there and take a look at it, it may again provide information that you are seeking. So, sorry,
With that, ma'am, could you provide that link again for you know, where you could go on look at the properties?
Sure, no problem. I'll retype that into the chat. And just for everyone's information, it is www.tswccul.org. That is the website. And again, please feel free to follow us on our social media channels. That is Instagram, Facebook, and then YouTube. A lot of information are housed on those channels. And if you have missed any of the information this evening and you need to reach out to us, again, Facebook and Instagram are manned. So please just check us, send us inbox or slide into the DMs, and we will answer questions there as well.
Hi, excuse me, ma'am. Did you ever think about creating a section just solidified, if I could use that term, just for teachers itself, you know, like an area just for teachers, a restricted area, Old West probably? A great rate. Saying how much they do for the babies. But out of there would you be? I have to plea for us, darling, for the babies.
I love your energy, Miss Smith. You must be a very funny teacher.
On this chat, I'm out here, Belinda Wilson is in here, but I can feel a spirit for the babies, please.
We've logged your plea.
Not everybody want to live Pinewood. Nothing against Pinewood, mom, but look here, time to upgrade.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Are there any further questions for us or for Ms. Bastian? We do have Mr. Miller on the call as well. If anybody wants to go ahead and ask a question. All right, Ms. Bastian, I'm going to ask you just to come in and close us out if you have any closing words for us.
Like I said, thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to present. And I hope the information that I shared this evening was very helpful. And I can't wait to see Ms. Ferguson, Ms. Smith, and the rest of the teachers come into Teachers Credit Union. We'll be happy to get you in your home as soon as possible.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Ms. Bastian, and a really awesome presentation. Thank you to the business development team, Ms. Ferguson and Mr. Wilson, who are also on the call, and Mr. Miller, the general manager, who came in this evening to sit with us. And we are going to wish everyone a safe and pleasant evening. We hope that you're in touch soon. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening.